Hello there, Dan here, 15th of July. So, going to go into the Polytunnel now and have a look. Let me know what you think. Is it a disaster? Is it becoming a disaster? Or is it not that bad? But either way, we haven't really had the ideal weather for many of the plants I'm growing here in this Polytunnel. But never mind, still plenty of time hopefully for many of the crops in here to mature and hopefully produce. So let's go in and have a look. Well, we'll start by looking at the lovely peregrine peach tree, which I must say is carrying an enormous crop. So haven't really had a particularly warm summer this year. It's about low 20s at the moment, so 70 degrees Fahrenheit or so, give or take. Many of the heat-loving plants that I've got down here, I've got some melons growing, I've got some okra, and some aubergines, eggplants. But the peaches have done very well indeed. Huge crop, so we'll pick one here. Now this variety, peregrine, is a very historical variety. So let's pick him. So there we are. Now this is a beautiful white flesh variety. Crikeys. Lovely sweet and tangy. Now these can vary regarding sweetness from year to year because of the light levels. Had relatively low light levels this summer, not too many sunny days that I can remember. And of course the green polytunnel does keep some of the light out, so that can take effect. So just pan the old camera over it. You can see one of my heat tapes from the polytunnel has come off. I'll put that back up in a bit. So there you go. You can see just the sheer volume of peaches that we have here. Now this one's quite soft as well, so these are maturing incredibly nicely. So there we go. It is a nectarine variety, Lord Napier. Really not doing too well. I think this tree might be on its way out, sadly. Now that is that's quite a shame. So down here you can see a huge crop just on these branches down here. There really is a lot. These ones will be a little bit later to ripen because they're getting a bit less sunlight down here. It's probably over 100 peaches on here, something like that, 70 to 100. But yeah, very good indeed, and yeah, looking good. It's a tomato, much delayed this year. Normally I've got more tomatoes on by now, but highly likely that's to do with the weather, because the growing mediums I've got here are very good. Plenty of nutrients in them, but it's not necessarily that much of a problem. It'll just mean I get my crops later, so hopefully the weather will warm up later in the year. Now over here, this here, generally not my thing to grow F1s. The big Zac I showed you a moment ago, they're not. I grew them from seed myself. This I was actually given the plant by another gardener, that's why I'm growing it. I certainly, at this stage of my gardening, I wouldn't be growing F1s. It's not really my bag. You can do a bit of research on that if you want. So that's tomato cocktail crush. Really need to, like some of these side shoots, I need to pinch that off. If you put that in the ground, I tell you what, let's do it now. Push that in there, look. Just made a little hole there. Highly likely that will root, keep it moist, and I get another tomato plant. So that'll be quite an interesting thing to do. So here I have some Charente melons, which I purchased the seeds from Lidl, I believe. No fruit set as yet, but putting flowers out now, so should hopefully end up with something. Now this one here, it's a shame really, because I think the plant has died or it's on its way out, and even though it's set a little crop there, little melon, but it doesn't look very hopeful to me, does it? This is the Kazakh melon, but there we are, not the end of the world. And here, this is an aubergine variety, long purple. I've got a few more in there, so looking at this polytunnel, looking up, it does look nice, and it gives a nice sort of peaceful ambience in here. Here you go, look, a few more tomatoes that you could see there. So I do recommend people, if they can, get a greenhouse or a polytunnel at your garden or at your allotment if you're allowed. If you've got the money, you've got the space, you've got the time, the energy, the effort, the want, a polytunnel or greenhouse can really add another dimension to your gardening. So with regards to peaches, the reason why I grow peaches and nectarines in here is avoidance of peach leaf curl. Now, many of my regular viewers will probably be bored of me telling you about peach leaf curl, but it's a condition where the temperature goes below about 16 degrees C. Trying to think what that is in Fahrenheit, probably about 61, 62 Fahrenheit, something like that. Then if that happens, then if it drops below that temperature in the winter, which it does, very, very regularly, obviously, and then the tree proceeds to get wet, then you end up with you can end up with peach leaf curl. So I protect it from rainfall year round. That's me anyway, that's what I do. And since I've been doing that, I've never had an issue with peach leaf curl. You can have issues with fungal disease, etc. That's why I tend to leave the door open, particularly on hot days. Also good to let pollinators in as well. But I put this polytunnel up the earlier part of last year after my bigger polytunnel got destroyed by the weather. So make sure you secure your polytunnel down, but it really is a good thing to do for that extra warmth. It provides warmth, shelter, another little place to go in your garden, great for raising seeds, etc. So very good. Anyway, I've got some bitter melons down there. Let's have a look at them. I'll show you them. Got some watermelons here, variety sugar baby. Not holding out much hope for them, to be honest. They generally like it a bit warmer than non-watermelons, shall we say. But yeah, some bitter melons here. Medicinal, you want to look into that. Bitter melon, very helpful for those who suffer from type 2 diabetes. So you might wish to look into bitter gourds, bitter melons. You can grow them here in the UK, no problem. Well, I say no problem. If you've got a polytunnel or a greenhouse, relatively no problem. I've grown them before, numerous videos on the subject. So I've just noticed, now these nectarines are incredibly tiny, because the tree is struggling. But this one is ready. Normally they're bigger than this, but I've never had particularly big ones from here, but of course the tree, you know, poor thing. So there we go. Oh yeah. Could have done with a bit longer, and the flesh goes whiter, but I don't mind them a bit sharpish like this, but give these, you know, another week or so. So as we go down here, I've got some ginger growing. You can see that, look. So they like it really warm. Nice warm pot if possible, hence why I'm growing it in the polytunnel. Once again, got videos on the growing of ginger, very possible. This is a shop bought, grocery store bought root. It's in there, and it should hopefully put up some shoots up to about here sort of thing. So that's good. Now over here, I'll just show you now, probably is far too late, but these are sweet potatoes. So once again, you can grow sweet potatoes here in the UK with no, I say no problem. It's very possible to do it. I've done it myself. Now, what I did early in the year, these are grocery store bought sweet potatoes. See that? That's a sweet potato slip there. Look at that. Literally all I did was just chucked them in this what do you call it, washing up bowl of water. Kept it here in the polytunnel, kept them moist, and well, moist, sometimes more than moist, quite, you know, immersed like halfway in water or so. You can see there, look, this one here, like that. Now I can plant this in a pot or in the ground like that, and then you can end up getting you know, sweet potatoes, etc. I might stick them in, but really now, you know, July, once again they like it warm. Probably a bit late to get a meaningful crop. So whilst I'm on the subject of gardening, which I often am on because this is a gardening channel, you can see these grapes here. So this is variety Muscat Blanc. These aren't being grown in the polytunnel, of course. I've got them outside. In this climate they grow perfectly well outside, no problem. But yeah, so loads of grapes this year. Going to have a huge crop here and some other vines as well. Hundreds of grape bunches I'm going to be picking, harvesting later in the year. So yeah, massive crops of grapes, and all of this vine here starts over there. I grew this from a cutting from a vine at a previous address, and it does really well, to be honest. It's a massive crop. Great variety to grow, Muscat Blanc, nice old-fashioned taste to it, which is good. Has seeds as well, which sometimes I think having seeds in grapes adds to the flavour to a degree. But yeah, this is some of many, loads to come later in the year. You'll be seeing some lovely grape harvests here. So there we are. You can see the polytunnel's looking pretty, you know, I don't know what it's looking, to be honest. Mixed feelings. Certainly this peach is fantastic. I'm just going to stay out here and have a peach party, but this side of it could be better, but nothing I could do about that. It's just how the weather's been. Not ideal for a lot of these things. So let me know what you think. How's your polytunnel doing? Hope it's doing well. See you in the next video.